Welcome back to the garage. So, today's project is going to be making a headache rack. We have a nice long truck bed, not long enough for 24-foot sticks of material. So, I'm going to make a single loop around the back and make another bar across the front, because the front actually is just high enough to clear the cab. So if I'm laying stuff on, I'm afraid of it coming down and hitting it. So I'm going to bump it up 2 inches. And that's what's on the docket today. Pretty hot. It's 40.5 this headache rack currently. Got 7/8 of an inch there. This is these pockets right here are 4.5 deep. This beam is just at 1.5 wide. It fits in these pockets really well, so we tight. It's not going to wobble around a bunch. What we're going to do is we're going to come up, just really simply, maybe match the edge for some aesthetic, and that'll be about it. And that's it. It's really simple today. Okay, a little bit looking over my shoulder here. So, from the side to the bottom of the deck, we have 40.5. The side rail, 7/8 up. That's minus 7/8. So this goes to what? 4/8. Proving a second math. Oh, 39. So that goes to 12/8, 5/8. And this goes to 39. So that's the height I need from there. Then it goes down another 4.5. I don't want to go down the whole 4.5 because then I lose the ability to clamp. I'm going to put a bolt and nut in there, actually clamp into the socket to pull it down. So I'm going to go 4. So I need to be 39 5/8 up from my stopping line. I'm going to go 4 inches down. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm not going to try to cut a right part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out the angle, cut my angle to match the way I have on the truck right now, tack it in, put it back on the truck, mark where it needs to be to match where I need to go, and cut from there. Here's the angle in question. See, it's just a natural bend. I don't know. It looks like they might have just folded it. It's creased on the inside. I mean, what they're doing. They do it plenty of times. I don't really care about that. So, angle fine until both sides are hitting pretty good. That's a big radius, so actually I don't know if I can do that. I'm going to do a different method now. I'm going to cut my material, lay it on top of the outside, match it. So first thing I need to do is figure out how much to cut down on my material. So I'm going to rough out where I think the apex is, mark it, and I'll measure from there. And honestly, it doesn't matter too much because I just have to make my choice. See, it's a crazy long bend. I was hoping to come up, bend, and come over, but they took this thing to like a 2-bender, and it looks like they have it up here. It looks like a 5 or 8 inch radius on the thing. So I'm just gonna pick right here, and I'm marking with a pencil. It's not permanent by any means. When I'm done, I can just rub it off. That's what she said. Where did I put them? There's the pencil mark. 11 inches. So it's 11 inches where the bend starts. So I also add another 4 to that. because that's how much I want to go into the pocket. Gives me 15 inches. Got my new favorite tool, bandsaw, some gloves, the beam. I'm gonna go from the bottom up 15 inches, make my first cut, roll it on its side, measure it out, and I'm gonna make a little bit of a wedge. Nothing too crazy. And then I'll mock it up back up on the wall over there, see if I get to match where I want. If I get the angle I like, I will tack it and make another one, make it directly match. I'm just outside. Probably shouldn't be in this hobby, but oh well. I want to take my time, get the first one done. I want to do the rest of this stuff inside because it's hot out. Actually, I'm going to try to get my initial cut now. I'm going to go for... Normally what I do is I use a grinder. I'll grinder it a little bit. I'm using a bandsaw, so I can do a little bit different method here. I'm going to assume... Let's go with... I lost my pencil. You guys probably see it on... There it is. Right here. I'll go 1/8 inch on either side. They give me a 1/4 inch valley because I want to be out in the 100-degree sun as little as possible. Actually, I can use the angle finder. I just need a straight edge for this part. Oh wow, that's gotten hot. I'll keep using this one. It's one of those heats that you don't realize how hot it is until you really commit by grabbing. And depending on what the wife does, she'll fast forward through this part so it's a little fast motion, or just you guys listen to the nice conversation of me just mumbling to myself. Convince myself I'm doing the right thing, staying out here where it's blistering hot. So I'm gonna make 2 cuts. I'm gonna make a note that I made it 1/8 inch either side. So plus, minus 1/8. Because I don't want to be doing this waste of material, because I actually don't have a lot of this 1.5 inch. Normally I go 1.25 inch or 2 inch. So here we go. And you can feel when you cut through the main web, because all of a sudden, you know, I'm cutting through 1.5 inch material. The sooner I cut through that, I'm now going through a 1/4 inch material, 2 1/8 inch bars, so it'll drop a lot faster. So as soon as I feel the saw drop, I know I've cut through and I'm done. Now I'm going to cut my line I traced. look at this, clean it up. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just bring that down like that. Okay, to keep it simple, I put a piece of angle here, raise it up. Before I weld, I'll push down so it's directly touching. And then fill the signs, and we got ourselves an angle. Yeah. People paying attention. I am welding on top of plastic. Actually, it's never touching the plastic, so I'm okay there. Ooh, good thing we're wearing filters. I don't want to fall off. I'm not trying for anything fancy, weave or anything. I'm just going to fill it in, grind it down, and we'll be good to go. Kind of Ron Swanson thing for bowling. Keep it simple, straight, anything else is dancing. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to put on my stop, so something to clamp it onto. Get some proper measurements, and then knock out a second one. Then once you do that, bring a beam across the top, clamp it where I want it to be, just outside the camera range. So go straight across, clamp them both on where I want it to be, mark it, so I know where to cut it, and go from there. Okay, so initially a lot of people think, why does the stop have to be full beam? Realistically, this piece here is going to be taking all the weight in a shear action, because it's going to be what's stopping it from going all the way down. Because I'm not going to have that go all the way through the pocket to the bottom where it has a natural stop. I'm going to have it stop short and have a bolt come up, so it clamps it in. So this will actually take me more force than anything else. So I'm going to make this thing about 6 inches long. I'll probably put a chamfer on one corner, make it look decent, and I'll write down what I do so I can do it twice. I'll keep using the bandsaw, not because it's necessarily the right tool for the job, but I gotta get better with bandsaw, because when I go to the aluminum, that's probably my primary cutter. I figure that better get it now for these kind of secondary projects. Better I'm gonna be with the main. So it's gonna be simple. 6-inch post. I might put a 45 on it. Depends how I feel. So let's get cutting. Clamp the edges. Weld her on. Okay, so here's my side. I'm going to go 4 inches. Drop that stopper right there. I want it to be facing forward because I want everything pushed forward. Figure if they're in I'm going to stop a lot faster than I'll accelerate and crunch every vehicle I have around. So that's what I'm worried about. So I'm going to come up 4 inches. All the top sides, bottom. I'm done. Just like that. I'm a huge fan using just a square to get my initial dimension. Double check it. Good. Line that guy right there. Now this one is critical because if it's off at all, it'll be leaning. I don't want to be doing that. So, no kill, like overkill. You guys are into watching YouTubers. I guess if you're watching me, you're into watching YouTubers. It's a fireball tool, a square. Drop you guys down so you can see. I'm not worrying about clamping this side down as much because it's resting on it. So I'm going to tack here, take it off, tack there, and weld it up. That's in. Since I know what I did, I'm going to repeat the same thing in the shade of the garage. The finest Pittsburgh steel clamps from Hazard Fraught. Get a 4-incher. So I cut this one a little proud, so I have a gap. I can fill a gap really easy, especially with MIG. Right back. Okay, so now I have the new piece clamped to the old piece. They'll be at the exact same angle. Let's get to it. I'm worried if I don't set it up like this, I'm going to make 2 of these on the same side, which I mean, structurally will do the right thing, but they're not going to be where I want them. Time to make another one of these standoffs. I use a lot of angles. I've taken from work, this like drops and stuff like that. We have a project where you need 140 inches of material and they get them 144 inch sticks. So there's a bunch of 4-inch drops. Want to see that type of stuff? Snag them. I have piles of these 2x3 angles. They're nothing great about them, but I just have them all. They're all the same, so I place them this way, they're the same. Place them this way, the same. The work area stops, end stops, clamps. If you can access that stuff, take it. And of course, ask permission where it makes sense to ask permission so you don't get fired for taking scrap material, because they might recoup some money, sell it to scrappers or something like that. And if you do it periodically, no one really cares. If you try to run off of a 1.5 ton material, it might raise an eyebrow or two. So I'm going to bandsaw this again. I am feeling like I'm getting a lot more comfortable with the bandsaw, which is good. But I also have the issue of we're trying to get the kid to go to sleep. Kind of hard to get him to go to sleep when I'm rocking a loud angle grinder or just as loud chop saw. The bandsaw, I don't even have to feel like I need to wear earplugs. It's maybe 90-ish decibels, which isn't loud actually. I mean, it's not quiet, but for periodic exposure. No big deal. Yeah, I just went to Home Depot to get some extra blades. Home Depot doesn't sell blades for a saw Home Depot sells. Anyway, yeah, Home Depot doesn't sell blades for the saw that is sold at Home Depot, which I don't know if that tells you the current lifespan of this tool. One thing I did say to myself a long time ago is like, if I wear out the tool, I'll upgrade it. But I mean, very few tools have actually gotten past consumer grade. Okay, since these are clamped together, I'm going to move the ground to the other side so it's out of the way. I'm going to go 4 inches up, clamp that puppy down, tack it, weld it. Good. After this welding, you'll see me up on the truck, hopefully. So once again, I'm asking, why the heck am I even bothering making these? Didn't you get a long bed truck? Yes, I got a long bed truck. I have the material already here, so it doesn't cost me anything to do. I mean, of course it costs me something to do, but negligible. I have material quoted in 24-foot sticks. It's one of the most economical ways to get bulk material like what I want. So that's what I'm going to get. To do that, I gotta figure out how to carry 12 to 24-foot sticks. So 12 to cut them in half. So be it. Most stuff 12 is going to be fine. A couple of long beams I'm going to have to pre-measure and cut before I even leave the shop with them. So they'll be longer than that because they'll be the full length of the camper. But that's the main reason I'm doing this. Is so I can carry full sticks. And I'm making them so I'm going to test this out through the pocket method. Because that's also how I plan on anchoring the camper. If it works well on this, I know it'll work well on that. So that's what I'm doing. Next thing you'll see is me in the truck. So this is phase 1, as you can see. It eventually stopped right there, but it goes up, up, and up because these are full sticks. I wasn't trying to estimate how much material it's going to take. So they're up. It pretty closely matches the current side, which is I'm fine with. That's fine by me. So now I gotta make the headache bar that goes across right there, so I know what to match it to. I have a plan for the front of the headache rack. We have this 50 and change leftover bar from when I was cutting on those little 6-inch pieces from. Take this piece. I can cut 3 3-inch risers out of it, so it'll be 1, 2, 3 farther down. Put feet on that. Those feet then will clamp onto the beam. That'll give me 4.5 inches above the headache rack. So that'll be a decent amount of clearance. So if I'm hitting bumps, stuff like that, it's not going to be smashing the front of my cab. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to lay out the 3 feet, not 4 feet. Here they go. This is leftover from another project, a little hole there, and a little hole here. What I'll do is this one will be chewed up in the actual weld. I'll just spot fill that one. So 1, 2, 3. Now I gotta put feet on it. I think it's 3 inches. I'm gonna go back over to the truck and measure 3 inches. If it's more than that, I'll produce 4-inch flat bar. 3 of those, and then I'll make a matching flat bar that clamps down, so it'll sandwich on. or will it? I have to change my plan up. I have to actually clamp a different spot. This one's going to be not good. Looking at it now. Otherwise I'll have to weld it to the actual support. I'll show you in a second. What I have to deal with. I can only clamp, I'll move my finger so you can, I'm going to clamp into that middle section. The edges are all paneled in. Pan around to the other side here so you can see. See, it's solid on this side. I'm not going to hold on to this at all because this is temporary. So I don't want to do any permanent modifications, at least to the truck part. So I'm going to cut it down to 2 pieces, and I'm going to come in and see if it focuses my finger, and clamp there and clamp over here. I only need 2. It's not a big drop. A little less aesthetically pleasing, but I think it'll be better in the long run. Just came back from the truck, measured. It's 27.5 to the outside, and I have a 2-inch slot. So that means that one goes 27.5. 27.5 gives me 13 3/4. 13 3/4 right there. Now that is my outside edge that I can use. So I can make these feet in a couple of inch noise. I can center the feet, I can off-center the feet, I can do a bunch of things, but for simplicity reasons, I'm probably going to off-center the feet just so I have less a chance of screwing everything up royally. Said 13 3/4, right? Yeah. Outside edge. Outside edge. Going from 3 supports to 2. This still be plenty. 27.5 overall. So now, I'm only 2 inches wide. I have a 2-inch flat bar, I believe. Yes, I do. I'm going to cut those 5 inches. Inch on either side. I'm going to cut those on the chop saws. Speed's key on this thing. It's getting too hot, and like most projects, taking too long. One good thing about leaving your gloves outside is they're not nuclear hot like metal. They're more like fresh out of the dryer warm, which is really pleasant. So I'm going 1/4 inch, so I want to go a little bit larger. I'm going 9/64 size. Okay. So let me square this up. We're good. Clamped down. Good-ish. Good enough. There we go, all the way through. So now, weld two of these. So now, weld two of these like that, one either side. Other side of my clamp plate. Weld this plate up. And I'll put a end stop on it. Here we go. So for my midpoint, it's 5 inches, 1.25 inches. That's 3 3/4. That gets me down to 1 7/8 to the edge. So if I set this up like this, set that right there, this hopefully is nowhere near the right size. Maybe I can put this in the right spot. I didn't. I put it 1 3/4, not 1 7/8. Did the math, can't read tape measure. There we go. So I'm actually going to bump this in 1/8 of an inch. Let me get some welding outside of it. There we go. So that's what I'm going to weld up. Let me get my gloves and didn't mess up the camera too bad. So I filled the one hole with weld, and I got to fill this last hole with weld. So here I have the bar clamped down to my vise. Edge is marked. I then went back and marked them both at 1/8 inch in, because I offset that at 1/8 inch. I'm just going to tack it on, set it up on the rack, and make sure it's the right spot. If it's the right spot, I'll finish welding it out. A lot better ground I've clamped in. Be back in a minute, either with welding these all the way out or breaking them free. It fit wonderfully. So now, burn some metal. Since we're here, I'm going to cut 2 end caps. I'm going to cut those later when it's darker, not a million degrees out. Okay, I'm going to mount this up. Here comes the moment of truth. Ta-da, done. No, I got it now. Get some hardware out of my pocket. A Sharpie, bolt, washer, another washer, and a bolt. I like to pre-assemble my hardware before I actually go into town. I'm squinting in there like an idiot because I can't see, get the 400,000 degrees out. Temperature's weird right now. It's not so hot that you instantly pull your hand away because that was still welding hot. But it's hot enough that you grab on. Then you do the Indiana Jones thing where he grabs the little Ark of the Covenant icon and you feel like you're melting into the work you just did. So obviously, after this test fit, I'm going to take it down and paint it. But that's relatively boring for everybody. And in my backup camera guard video, I showed you how well I care about painting. I mean, it's important and all, but yeah. You gotta know something about this channel. I care about things when it's important to care about them. When it's not critical, I don't care. So now I'm 3, 4.5, 4 3/4, almost 5 inches higher than the deck of my roof of my vehicle. So I should be clear. So don't have to worry about putting nasty dings and dents in my stuff. If I make the second cross member too low, it's not bad. I'll be facing uphill. That's good. But if I make it too high, I'm going downhill, killing all my clearance I just made, which is going to be no good for anybody. Now that all this is anchored, I'm going to take a measurement, hard measurement from here down to the deck. Got to remember that the deck is 7/8 of an inch lower than my side rail. So whatever measurement I get here, I got to subtract 7/8 for, and that's the height I got to put on my rail. Other option I might do, take hard measurements here, clamp my cross member, get my hard measurements, sketch actually directly on the part so I know exactly where to cut. The more I think about it, the more I'm leaning towards that method. So I'm going to take a hard measurement here, clamp on my cross member, get hard measurements there, and we're going to go from there. .45 5/16, making sure it's square. 45 1/4. Get close as I can to the tire. .45 5/16. So I'm gonna say it's 45. I'm gonna say it's 45 1/4. So if anything, I'm gonna be going uphill. I don't know if this is a trade secret or anything like that, but before I place my part up there, I'm going to put the top of this clamp at 45 1/4-ish, maybe a little low. That'll let me rest my cross member on it after the stop. Of course, I'm at 45 1/4, like I just did. I immediately realized I'm going to be using a 1.5 inch member. Got to bring it down 1.5 inches from there. So I changed my plan. I'm actually going to clamp the back half, this beam, to it. I'm going to do it purposely high. So if I bring it down, I can just pivot it out. If I bring it a little farther up, I can leave where it is. If I put it right here on the threaded connection, my material's going to hit on this, which isn't going to be good, it's going to slide off. But if I need to adjust it, I have to loosen it and remove it. This will let me just pivot. So now, both are clamped. I'll measure it, get my right height, go from there. We'll focus on one side at a time. I'll focus on driver. .45 1/2 because I probably ran out of 1.5 inches. This is now 1 3/4 inches. I got originally the telescoping job. That job's done. So I might be able to do some cool with making this actually cap on. Depends if I hate my life enough for that. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. Okay. Fleeting idea. Drag come down a 1/4 inch. So if this works out right, get that out a 1/4 inch, unclamp it, reclamp it. Slowly working. $45 1/4. I'm trying to do it close as I can to the edge, so I don't get weird angles. So if this is actually, that 1/4 could be actually lower than 45 1/4. To get this side down to 45 1/4, I'm bring this one up. So the closer I get to the actual point, less double, triple measuring. $45 1/4. Since I'm already here, kind of walk this side down a little bit. Both of them are slightly under 45 1/4, which is actually a positive. So if I mess up at all, like I said, I'll be going up and away from the roof, not down into the roof, which would be a really, really sad day for me. Got my Sharpie. Gonna mark the bottoms of both of these. Tell me those cut distances. Then I'm going to measure out where I want to cut the top member. I want to let it stick out a little bit on both sides, just for I don't know why reason. And then we'll go from there. I'll probably bring the welder out, tack it actually in position so I know exactly where everything needs to go, keep it square. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually weld it inside. I'll take measurements from how far apart these are. Let me know that. I'll take measurements how far apart the bottom needs to be. That'll let me square it all up and actually do it proper. 78 1/4. Of course, you guys couldn't see me. I was down the bottom. 78 1/4 across. It's so hot. My Sharpie isn't even really working anymore, which kind of sucks. Okay, let's see if we can make any more mistakes. Knock this thing down, cut off all this extra, weld that in, bolt it back up, see if it all works. Then I gotta figure out how to clamp this thing in, because I can't be using the Irwin wood clamps for this for down the highway. Yeah. This looks a lot different than what you last saw it. I have laid out the rails as I do in the truck. So they're the right width from pocket to pocket. They're square. Make sure they're square. I use the actual wall, the back wall of my garage as my 0 point. Everything's ready to go. I'll tack this up and do it to it. Hey Dennis, you're still cleaning the garage. Would it make more sense to finish cleaning the garage for your next project? No. No. Quitters think that way. Still no professional welder, but better than that SEMA quality bubble gum you see half the time. I don't know if you guys saw the meme. SEMA's canceled this year, so you guys have an extra year to get those welds correct. Okay, I gotta go back to Home Depot because I've been there once today. I gotta get some 1/2-inch hardware to bolt this thing into the truck with, and I'll actually be done! We're still recording? Ew. We're back, and I'm gonna explain it on the side here since it's easier to grab. Basically, gonna take a 1/2-inch nut, tack it to a plate, weld the plate to the end to act as an end cap. So then, when we take the bolt, well, not the bolt, yeah, we bolt and pull through. The backing plate will help clamp it down. So I marked a 5/8 hole. So it's oversized hole for what I need. Just fine by me. Okay. Those two pieces of plate are both about 400 degrees piece, so I'll be back after I beat it up. I've sanded off most of the zinc coating. On the two sides, I'm going to tack weld onto the plate. I'm using the original bolt that I'm going to use to bolt it all into with width as a clamp. Put bead on either side. I'm going to cut probably another inch off the main member and then go from there. I use the bolt for a couple of reasons. It helps make sure everything's lined up properly with the hole, but also acts as a heat sink, so hopefully less heat gets stuck in those threads, less chance of warping it. Prepping the second one right now. Lots of threads. I like lots of threads for a couple of reasons. One, if it loosens up some, it takes a long time for it to fall out. That's probably the main reason. If it's ever change where it's going on, a better chance at fitting. I can always cut threads down. That's my biggest one. I always cut threads down. I can't make a bolt longer, but it's really easy to make a bolt shorter. So often I'll buy the part long, then trim it down if I need to later. This is where this 1/8-inch plate's gonna come. I'm gonna use it as a spacer. Do it on one side, tack the opposite side, and go to town. And if you're wondering, throughout the day, later it gets, the less I care. It's hot. It's still bueno. this plate plus this hardware and a nut, which this is the screw, which bolt I've left, will lock it in place. Let's talk about bolts being too long. Bolts are too long. Gotta figure out how much short I need to make it, cut it, shorten it. So after a lot of trial and error, not wanting to bolt up, I had to slot the plates to get them to slide in. That was just too much trying to get them all made at once, so it was all there now. So here we go. Take a look. Oh, wrong direction. So there it is. I have a little test piece. One of the few ones I have right now is currently 10 foot long. So long as I make my 8 foot span. It clears by a lot, which I like. Everything I like about this except for one thing. It's a little weak on the back side, so I'm going to take another piece of angle, another piece of member, and put it back here to straighten it up. But I'll do that when I take it off for paint. Pretty happy with it.